Welcome to the TCS WMN podcast, where the ladies of the top contractor school are going to get together to discuss what it's like to be a woman in construction, leadership, and navigating the balance between it all. Your host for the TCS WMN podcast will be Karla Goldammer, who has been in construction for almost 30 years with D&J Site Construction. She will be accompanied by a rotation of co-hosts that include Elizabeth Reinman of RK Reinman Construction, Sandra Albert of Bay Country Contractors, Lillian Callaway of K&L Industries, and Kelsey Wright of Pro Line Parking Lot Maintenance. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Karla Goldammer, and this is our second TCS WMN podcast, and I'm here with my co-host, Kelsey Wright and Lillian Callaway. Hi ladies, welcome. So let's get started, and Lillian, if you can give us a little background and history of how you came into the construction industry.
Oh, well, I was actually raised in a contractor's home, self-employed my whole life. My dad was a contractor, so I'm used to the industry. And it just so happened that if you heard Keith's story, the way he started, my father and brother started paving just a few months before we actually got engaged, and he watched them be successful in the asphalt business, and he thought, well, if they can do it, I can certainly do it better. A little arrogance there, but so that's how we actually got into asphalt and paving was because he wanted to prove that he could do it better. It's taken quite a few years, but he does really well. We've now been in it 40 years this year, and we've grown a lot. We've gone from providing food for our family to providing a living for 45 people. So yeah, we've grown.
And Kelsey, how did you get into the industry?
Daniel. So I'm a nurse, and he decided to buy Proline from a coworker. He was being leveling up in the company, and he didn't have time to do the 8 to 5 thing, and asked Daniel if he wanted to buy the company. So this year he asked if I can help out more since we were growing and growing, and I really wasn't at a good spot in my job, that I was enjoying it, and that's how I got into Proline here. He just helping out.
Helping out. Well, I grew up in the industry myself. I'll do it real quick. And went to college. My ex-husband, well, my then future husband, we got married when he graduated, and he really couldn't find a job that fit him. And so my mom and dad were like, well, just come down and move back home and, help us with the company. And so that's how we came back into the company, 1986, no, 87. So yeah, we've been in it a while too, but now we're not married, but we still run the company together, it can be interesting, right? Having a family owned business. Lily, how big is your family? Because it's bigger than mine.
Well, we've been married 41 years, and we have 7 kids, and in July we'll have 18 grandkids. So,
and how many of the kids are involved in your company?
In our business? Well, Keith Jr. is our business partner, and we have one of our sons is our prep crew lead, and then another son helps out peripherally with some of the properties, so he does more of the real estate management stuff. So they're all part of it. Like, family conversations are all around business and contracting, because all 7 of our kids are entrepreneurs in some way, shape, or form. Most of them in the construction industry. Our youngest he has his own coffee shop, but they're all entrepreneurs and headed into a life full of adventure.
Very good, very good. Kelsey, is it for you and Daniel? Is it just y'all two, or are there any other family members in your company?
No, it's just Daniel and I. We don't have any kids. It's just me and him and our 4 pups. But all of our family, I have some family members that live here, but majority of our family live out of state. So it's just me and him.
So how's it transformed for y'all having two separate jobs
Mhm.
and you're with him literally 24 hours a day now? How's that?
It's actually not that bad. Coming into this, I thought it would be a constant 24/7 thing where me and him are just with each other all the time. I'm in the office all day, but Daniel's out and about doing site visits, meeting with people. So if I do see him, it's only for a couple hours during the day, and then we go home. But even at home, we're not really with each other a lot because we're working. So it's not that bad. I thought it would be worse, but it's not. We have that time away, so we're not at each other's throats all the time, being
That's good.
husband and wife and working.
So we're all part of Top Contractor School. Kelsey, what has your biggest takeaway been from the Top Contractor School?
In general, when I first started, I didn't really understand what was it about. But as a woman, because I wasn't in an industry, I wasn't in Proline. I was a nurse, just supporting Daniel. So I didn't really have an understanding about it until I started going and meeting the people. And that's probably the biggest thing that I've got out of it, was just the community and the family that you develop being there. I mean, I can call Lillian any time of the day and she would help me out or answer my questions if she's up and awake at the time of the day that I'm going to call you based on our time difference. But it really is a family, and that's probably the biggest thing that I've gotten out of it.
And Lillian, you've been in TCS the longest out of the three of us. What is your take on it?
I think Kelsey hit it. It's really the community, because being entrepreneurs, it's a lonely world. And because where contractors come from, you don't share your secrets. That's what I grew up with my dad. You didn't tell anyone where you were working, what you were doing, because it was, the secret ingredient. And having a community is amazing, because you're not carrying any burden alone. And you can say, hey, I'm having problems with this, and you get 10 ideas thrown at you, and you can adapt it how you want. And like I've said before in our retreats, of please plagiarize my information. You have my permission to take it, change it, use it how you want it, because getting started is the hardest thing, is creating this form that you have to have for whatever reason. And you can take it, and you don't have to have the hours of struggle that I had or that someone else had. But now you're miles ahead because you have something to start with and to move forward with. And that's been one of the most valuable things, is as a community. For me, I haven't always been intricately involved with the business. I actually now own the business, and I have for a couple of years, because we found that advantageous, and I may as well use it, because I actually am the one who runs the business. I mean, Keith Jr., Junior and Senior, both are the ones out there selling and producing the jobs. But as far as keeping everything together, that's me. And keeping track of everything is in the billing and the paying the bills and all those things that are involved in it. That's all my job. Anything they don't do, I catch. And so TCS has given me confidence personally that I do have a story, that I do have value, because I'm very traditional, and I'm not. I think women are very, very powerful, but I think they don't take advantage of the power in submissiveness and being protected by the males in your life. And that's where I find power. I have no problem letting a male be in front of me, because guess what? I know I'm the neck that turns the head. And that's way stronger than having to be the one in the front line that's shooting all the ammunition. So that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. In fact, I was telling Keith Sr. the other day, I said, I don't think I give myself enough credit for the knowledge that I do have, because I've had to learn it along the way. So it's been organically, not going to school and, and now I finished this 10-week course and I have a certificate. But it really is the self-confidence that I can find the answers, and I can succeed. And And I know I can succeed because I have 100 other people behind me cheering me on and there to hold me up if there's an issue that happens. So
I feel the same way. Keith Senior is actually the one that introduced me to Brian and brought me in to the TCS family. We were in Nashville at NPE, and so I waited this long line to meet Brian. And when I got up there, Keith Senior was there, and I had just met him previously at the very first construction conference I'd ever been to in Las Vegas. And he was like, "Oh no, you need to meet him, and you need to be in top contractor school. This is what you need." Best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing, hands down. With the help of him and Brian, I, like you, have learned to use my voice, because when I was raised, I was always taught you're to be seen and not heard. And I don't think we realize how much that impacts us later on in life. You know, and Brian was it's taught me a lot about the self-confidence and the power that we do have, and, you know, use that voice. So I'm very appreciative to our top contractor school and everybody in it. So let's move on to the next topic. As far as the top contractor school women part, Kelsey, how do you see that developing and coming into play?
I'm excited to help or just give insight to the women who are, you're not just the spouse, but you to the same understanding that I was, like, if you're not in the construction industry or you have a different career, learning what your spouse does on a day-to-day basis, understanding that why he's gone all the time, or yes, you make a certain amount of revenue as a company, but that doesn't mean that's in your pocket. Like, just those kind of interactions or knowledge that you get of being in the construction or just any kind of business. It's just passing along those knowledge and making them understand or helping them understand to support your spouse, I think is a great thing I'm looking forward to.
Lillian, what about you?
I agree with Kelsey. It is along the lines of, I remember when the first retreat, which I went to, and you were there too, Karla, and I think that's why we even began a relationship, because I think we were like one of the 3 women that were there. And it just felt a little awkward because, like you, I was raised you're more seen and not heard. And I don't necessarily think that my parents meant to teach that as that you're less than. It just didn't give me confidence, because I'm also number 7 of 8 kids. So I learned from an early age, I just shut up and listen. And so that confidence thing is really hard for me. But I think I'm excited for the spouses to come along to see how much power they really have. I was a stay-at-home mom raising our kids, and Keith was out there working. My involvement in the business was keeping track of the receipts. And at night when they went to bed, I could sort them and take care of some of the book stuff. But it wasn't, it's not like I was in it every day, day to day. I was doing my mom job, because that's my priority. I'm a wife first, a mom second, grandma third, and oh, by the way, I help with our books. And so I think that more women need to understand that even if they choose to be a stay-at-home or have another job or career, they are very much a part of the business and an intricate part, and they need that support. They need to encourage their husbands and say, how can I help you? Or just thank you. Thank you for going out there and working hard to make this succeed for us. And I think that's something that's lost in our society, is that they think just because as a female that you can say thank you to your spouse for being out there and being successful, that women take that as that I'm less than. And I don't think I'm less than. I think I'm way more powerful than them by being able to say thank you. And I want to give some of that strength to the women that are out there, the spouses, the significant others that are there with these contractors. They need to know how much strength they have and how much more that the businesses can succeed by encouraging and by standing next to them and encouraging them.
Yeah, I remember this was years ago. One of the members in the TCS group, the chats, hey, do y'all know where to get this part for the paver? Or, what about this mix on the seal coat and, all this stuff. And I do that, but I don't do that. That's Mark's deal, So I was just like always just reading the chat, scrolling through. And then one of the members one day was like, okay, my wife is like really mad at me because, I don't do this when I get home, but I'm still like in work mode. And I was like, oh, I can do this one. This is my thing. Like, I get to finally answer a question, and it's stuff like that, having that perspective from the other side.
It is.
So,
There's an emotional thing that's involved there that men don't typically speak of. They feel it, but they don't speak of it. And I think that's the disconnect, is that they feel it, they don't speak of it. The women speak of it because they feel it. And so it's finding that line where the two can come together and become a stronger base for their business.
mhm. Do you have something to say, Kelsey? You have a big
No,
grin.
I'm just listening to Lillian because I love when she speaks, and I relate to everything that she's saying, and I love it. You word it so nicely.
You're very kind. Thank you.
Well, we've been on the other side where the husbands aren't home every day at 5:15, or they're not there on Saturdays, and so you just pack up your kids and you go and do.
Oh, 1,000 stories of something would go wrong on a job. And actually, it was one of our kids' birthdays. And we were waiting for Keith to get home to celebrate. Something went wrong. They weren't able to finish. He called me up. We packed everybody in the car along with dessert and went to the job. They finished the job. We had the headlights, cars pointing every direction, so they had light. They finished paving the job with the headlights for the lighting so that we could celebrate a birthday before it was time for me to take the kids home and put them to bed. So there's lots of stories of that, but it's learning how to be flexible and okay, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to be mad about it. You have a choice in everything you do. Am I going to be upset about it, or am I going to go with it and find an encouraging thing? And it's far more valuable to be encouraging and to take those moments, because there's already 1,000 guilt things going through the man's mind of, great, she's mad, I've let her down, I failed. And interestingly enough, I never realized how much men feel like they fail. I mean, as a mom, I have so much mom guilt, and I understand the moment that things are going wrong, the guilt that goes through you. I never once thought about Keith feeling guilty for not being there, because I just didn't think he had that emotional connection as far as guilt. I knew that he wanted to be there and I knew it was disappointment, but I never related it to guilt. And they deal with just as much guilt on their side as we do on ours. So that is one of the things I appreciate that has come to light in TCS is talking about the guilt on both sides and causing those conversations, because you need to have those.
Mhm. Yeah, it's all in the perspective. And we talk a lot
Mhm.
about that in Top Contractor School, is your perspective on things. So,
Yeah, like you said, they don't want to be away on their birthdays or miss soccer games, or come home at 8 o'clock at night when dinner's already made and now it's time for bed, or to relax for the rest of the day. I mean, I don't have kids, so it's a little harder for me to relate with the kids aspect of all these things that you're missing. I mean, for me and Daniel, it's just, all right, well, actually, I'll step that back a bit. Me and Daniel are a little different, because Daniel and I, when we first met, he was at the fire department. So I already came in like preconditioned to the late nights, not here, me, Kelsey being home alone kind of thing, because he'd be gone for a couple of days at the fire department and be 24 on, 48 off kind of thing, or however the schedule was. So I had a lot of understanding just because that was what I knew when we got into the relationship. But I mean, going in the business side, if I'm now in nursing and I get home at 5 o'clock and I'm expecting him to be home at 6 o'clock, 6:30 for dinner, and he doesn't get home till 8 o'clock because now he's got something happen on the job and he's got a whole bunch of other stuff to do, or I need to go meet him out there because forgot a gas can, or I need to help put him out a sign because he's the only person on the job. Like, you just have to roll with it. Like you said, it's just rolling with the punches.
Yeah. Certainly is, certainly is. Kelsey, what would you like to give into TCS Women?
Give, I mean, my time, full on it. Whatever you need, I'm there for you. Call me if you need it. I'm probably the youngest, I think the youngest one, maybe you're newer or married. I'm not really sure actually. But maybe the youngest in getting into the business with my spouse. So if someone else is getting into it and it can relate, I can probably help out with that. But definitely my time, I want to help out whatever way I can.
Well, we talk about all the work that goes into it and everything. What has been the fun part of being in the construction industry for you?
The knowledge, it's just different. I mean, the different machinery or just the methods that you would not know how much math goes into the construction field. I mean, estimates or measuring, or I just didn't think I'd still be using this type of math. I mean, I did statistics and everything else, and I'm like, stay away. But I like a push in knowledge, and it's definitely different. So I enjoy that. There's something new to learn every single day, and or a new technology or a new like solvent that comes out that are restriction in a county that now we have to adhere to. So it's just different in learning curves, and it's just a challenge. I like it.
Like it. Lillian, how about you?
I think for me, what do I want to give? I want to empower the inner strength of the females that are in the group, because I think that's what lacks, and I think that's why women's rights have been so big. But part of that is looking within yourself and realizing that I don't need other people to tell me I'm powerful. I just have to believe in me. And when you walk and talk confidently, whether you're right or wrong, people are going to respect you because you've spoken confidently. And I think that's what lacks, especially in this business. I mean, I go to these meetings, which I'm sure that at least Karla's experienced, and most of the room is filled with men, and I just have to assert myself into the conversations, and they're like, "Oh, you are in the business. You're not just the spouse hanging out and just joining them, but you do understand the business and what goes on." And when that happens, the friendships become deeper, especially with the females, because you know that you really understand. And I think that's really what it's about, is becoming more of that family group that I can call anyone. I can call Kelsey, I can call you, I can call whoever I want and say, I just need to know what you do for this. And right or wrong, this is what I'm doing. So tell me what you know and what your laws are in your state, and let me check out what laws should I be checking out in my state. And so there's just the camaraderie of knowing there's people behind you. And I think when you have that support, it changes your perspective. It changes how far you feel like you can start reaching for the sky when you thought you could barely reach for the front door. And now you can reach for the sky because you know you have all this knowledge and capacity behind you that is really at your fingertips that you can access. And we have some that bring their kids there, which I think it's great. It's great for them to be a part and to be in and out of the meetings and sit with mom and dad to understand who they are. I did that as a child, even though my dad was only self-employed with himself. But when he had meetings, if I wanted to go in and sit on his lap, I did. And it's important because our kids all need to understand what we do and that they're just as much a part of it as mom is, as dad is, that every single person in the family is an intricate part of the business. And it's not just dad's career, which when you are in a business of 8 to 5, working for Joe Schmo banker or whoever, it is just dad's job. And mom does just go to be beside dad's job and meet the people that he knows so that they're knowing the names and the conversations. But when you're self-employed and an entrepreneur, every person in your family that's important to you is part of that business, even though they may not be in it day to day. They're very important in the support aspect of it. And that's what I want women to see, is that most of the time, and I'm not saying that women can't be the entrepreneurs, but most of the time in construction, it is the men who are the ones that are pursuing it and that are the leaders of it. And I find great safety in that I always have a way out. I always know that Keith is going to protect me, or Keith Jr. is going to protect me, that I have someone that will protect me. But behind him, I have all the power in the world to say and do and move forward to push our business. So a long answer to a short question.
No, I loved that your main point was the confidence in the beginning, because I can definitely relate to that. What you said is when you go to a meeting and automatically the person that you're meeting with, you're just the wife that's alongside him. So, I mean, that happens all the time with Daniel and I, and he doesn't realize it. He doesn't even know that happens because I brought it up to him. I said, yeah, we go up and introduce ourselves and they just go right to you and just completely like, there's like a curtain here. She doesn't exist. And it really is pushing yourself in those conversations and getting you to be more confident. And I'm learning that I need to be, and just make myself present and have more confidence within those situations. But you hit it on that one. I can relate.
Yes, I know, especially I do the same thing. Mark and I aren't married anymore, but they assume that we are. And so then I have to be that person who are like, no, actually, we're no longer married. We're in business, but we're no longer married. And this is what I do. And you're in my lane. Like I am the one that deals with this. And especially with emails, people just type out these emails and I'm like, no, if you want this, it needs to come to me, because if you send it over there, it's never going to get done. Like, it's not going to get done. Like, come to me first and then I'll tell you. But I think our women in top contractor school it's going to be a great thing for all of us that are founders and all the new women coming in, even if they're in the industry or not in the industry.
Yeah, there's a place for everyone.
Yes.
Whether you're at home, whether you have a separate career, it's being able to share common conflict is what grows your relationships, and common conflict and sharing when your significant other or spouse is stressed. If you're walking alongside him, you're carrying the burden with him, and you can grow from that and grow your business. And so the next time something happens, you have that common conflict to refer to step ahead and to know that you're ahead of the game because, oh yeah, we dealt with it this way. And oftentimes, guys forget, oh, I dealt with that, because they're so non-emotional and they're not emotionally tied to it. It was just a problem they dealt with. But we women, we keep that in our heads because it was an emotional blow to some aspect of our lives. And so that common conflict in battling, as we call it, battling the daily dragons, that we're able to stand there together and move the business forward for that. But I'm excited that every aspect of womanhood can be encouraged and grow. You don't have to be the CEO, the CFO, any letters you want to put it behind it. You can be the spouse who has a whole separate career, and you can still be encouraged in this. And that's what I wish, if all the spouses of the men that are involved in TCS came to a meeting and sat in that group and saw what it does for their spouses, their worlds would change. And they would be so excited to come and be there, because it's a place of refreshment. It's not a place of drain. It's a place of encouragement and empowerment. in every aspect of your lives to move forward and grow and be a better person, better business, better parent, better whatever name you want to put with it tomorrow, because you have strength that you just filled your cup up and can share now, instead of going to these meetings that just take every ounce of liquid out of that cup and you are left with nothing. When you leave a retreat or a get together or a phone call, you're filled. You're filled emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and in business. And it's just a matter of the camaraderie that has happened organically. It's not forced. When you leave, that you have, you have an army behind you that can help you dig out of this problem, whatever it may be.
Right. And I love the fact that there are more and more different aspects of the same industry in top contractor school now. 3 years ago, it was just 4 years ago, it was mainly asphalt and seal coat. And now we have asphalt, seal coat, we have utilities, site work, like
Roofing, flooring.
flooring,
Welding. Yeah.
yes.
steel, home builders, Bill, and with the home builders. And so I've really enjoyed that fact, because you get so much information that, I don't get. I don't deal with home builders, but listening to what they go through and their schedules and faster paced, you can take things away from everybody.
100%. Yeah. I mean, everyone has, it's business. You've got employee problems, you got sales problems, leadership problems, HR problems, dealing with clients. Everyone has that to deal with. Home problems, whether you have a spouse or not, kids or not, everyone's in that same boat trying to figure it out. Like you said, hopefully people release that tie of information, and definitely in TCS, I think people do. They are definitely willing to help and give any kind of information. Shoot, Lillian, you just said that you gave away, I think your employee handbook. I think you've given that to us many years ago. We've used it. I've changed it for ours, but call me anytime. I'll give you any kind of policy, HR related information to help you, whatever you need. So I love it. It's wonderful.
I know at the very first conference when I met Keith Sr., there was probably 15 to 20 people maybe there. And I just sat there. It was the first conference I'd ever been to for construction. And I was like, everybody in this room, no matter where they came from, which part of the United States, we all had the same problem. We all had the trucking problem. We all had the employee problem. And I was just like, I felt like, okay, I'm not alone in this, And that's how Top Contractor School has helped me a lot, knowing that I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's camaraderie.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, when we leave the retreats or the meetups, or you just have a weekend with a couple of the other contractors, you just leave filled up and refreshed and like, okay, I can make it till the next one now.
Well, Keith and I have always, we like to travel. And so literally we can go to practically any state in this country and we have a place or friends to see. And that is a really cool thing too. Oh, I'm going over here and let me see if it's close to this person and we'll stop and visit. And so there's the relationships built outside of the retreats and the conferences that that you can go into the other businesses and say, let me come to your business and just walk around and see what you do. Let's just see how things are set up. How is there something that can help my business and change the things we do? Because I saw the way you did it and I liked it better. So because we get stuck in our own ideas and our own paths. So the creative ideas, 50 people thinking and looking at them all is way better than me sitting here going, how should I do this?
Right.
And I don't have to work near as hard, and it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Lillian, do you have any beside, I don't know if anybody helps you in the office, but I think they do. Do you have any women that work out on the job sites on your crews?
None that work on the crew. We do have a couple in the office that are primarily in the office, but they're operations. that they go out and they do job site visits, and they do all the tactical stuff of ordering the flagging and traffic control and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of coordination in the details that they choose to do, because quite honestly, they'd rather let the guys be out there in the cold and rain than them. So um, I think they're pretty smart.
I'd say so.
Yeah, but so
Mhm.
that's we don't, oh, I take that back. We do have one female truck driver right now. She just
Mhm.
started in January, and she's fantastic. So she is out there with the crew, but it's so funny because when she comes in at the end of the day, she will literally sit in the office with all of us and just chat for a while, because it's that female camaraderie that we can
Right.
relate to the emotions that she's feeling and the things that she's gone through, where she can say something to the guys and
And
they're
they just
hitting on two different things. And so she gets filled up by the end of the day by coming in and talking. But we're not opposed to a female being out there. We just haven't, none have come in because we're second chance employers, and it's even a little rougher when
right.
you have the second chance employees, the male and female mix. There's entirely different subjects that you have to deal with them.
Mhm.
But we're not opposed to it. Just hasn't happened.
That's it. Kelsey, do y'all have any female out on the cruise?
No, not in operations. We've got Amanda and Kate who are in admin. Kate is our part-time, and Amanda is our office manager. But sometimes they'll go out, and I mean, we've got videos and stuff about them out on the job site, just on the machines and stuff like that, helping out. Or Amanda, she used to do site visits for us in sales, but not actually in operations and particular in that role. No.
I had one young lady at the first of the year come in, or at the end of last year of 23 come in, and she was primarily a roller operator. And
Awesome.
she only stayed a couple of weeks. She had some personal problems. All the men were very sad when she left. We're like, what? She's not coming back, you know? But like you said, there's few and far between that come in to work out on the cruise and stuff. I would definitely like to see more women, out on the cruise and stuff. I think they do a good job. Their organizational skills and how a woman sees things different, the finish,
Detailed.
detail work and stuff. I think it would be great. But I have Stacy here in the office with me, and I can live without her. So, okay, ladies, it's been great being with y'all today and discussing our roles in construction. So I want to thank my co-hosts, Kelsey and Lillian, and we have two other co-hosts, and we'll be rotating throughout our podcast, and that is Liz and Sandra. And if you're in construction, male, female, spouse, no spouse, we're the home for you. We're where you need to be. So look up Contractor School, and we're here for you.